Hello everyone! Here I'm gonna talk about my yoga teacher training, and I'm so excited to finally make this video because I haven't had time. I was so busy, but now is the moment. I'm recording this video the second time because the mic didn't record anything because I forgot to press the button. Anyways, I split this video into 4 parts. First, what's happening now? Now I'm preparing for the exam. Second, what I have learned. 3, my challenges. 4, future plans. Straighten your right leg, bend your left knee. Step your left foot close to the thigh, as close to the groin as possible.
Contract the quadricep, heel is pressing into the ground. Sitting bones are really good, especially the left one. Make your left hand into a fist. Left elbow to left knee. Right hand behind you. Push yourself up. Inhale. And exhale, twist. On an exhalation.
I'm preparing for the yoga exam and there is a lot to learn, but to make it a bit more structured, I decided to make a list of all the poses that I have to learn for the exam. And I counted 68 poses. It could be a wrong number, but to give a rough idea, it's 68 poses that I have to learn, that I have to know how to teach. To tell you a bit more about the exam itself, we're gonna have a theoretical part where we'll have to answer questions about anatomy and about yoga. For example, yoga philosophy and yoga history. And then the practical part. And the practical part is the most fun, where we're a group of teachers and one of us will have to come in front of the room and instruct a class. I'm really looking forward to this. We already rehearsed it a few times. And then you don't know what pose you're gonna get. So you kind of have to learn all the 68 poses. Now I have this card, 1 card per pose group. And what I do is I take one of them, so this one is for back bends, and check, okay, can I do them all? Because some of them are really common. For example, cat-cow, Vajrasana. It's quite easy to do, quite easy to teach. However, there are some more complex poses, and then I go onto the mat, like now, and I open the manual. I can open a page for a specific pose and check how it should be done, how it should be taught, what kind of people should or shouldn't do this pose. There is a lot of information, so much wisdom and a lot of years of teachers' experience who came before us is in this manual. So it's really overwhelming, to be honest. So let's come back to what I have learned. I have learned a lot. It was really overwhelming in a good way. I sat down to write points that I learned 3 times or even 4 times. And every time I wrote down a totally different thing. So before recording this video, I sat down and I wrote a totally new plan because I feel like I've learned so much, and I'll try to share the main 6 things that I learned during yoga teacher training. The first one, my favorite one, is speaking skills. I feel like my speaking skills have improved because during yoga, instructing, yoga teaching, you have to be very clear. You have to explain something really difficult to a beginner so that they understand what they're supposed to do. It was really hard, and it is still very hard, but I'm learning and I feel like I'm improving. We teach each other so much. And every time we give each other feedback and I keep learning new things, about myself, and they are not pleasant most of the times, because you realize what things you're doing wrong. And to grow, you have to know what you're doing wrong so that you can improve, so that you can fix it. For example, I keep saying filler words and when I'm thinking, and I wouldn't like to be like that, but I am. So I want to improve. So I'm trying to really control myself to avoid any sounds. Other things, when it comes to speaking, I realized that it's important to understand what you want to say before saying it. And that was my problem. And also that's why it was so hard for me to record my first videos, because I usually speak as I think, instead of thinking first and then formulating it into a sentence. And I especially noticed it during the teacher training, that I actually need to understand what I'm about to say in order to say it nicely, grammatically correctly, and beautifully in general. Next point. Now I know the names of body parts. It may sound simple, but actually knowing where the muscle is, where a joint is, makes a big difference when it comes to doing sports. Because you start being aware of the things that you have, of the body you have, and how a certain exercise targets some part of the body. And it turns out that you have to work. In every pose, you have to work. Even if it looks like it's a simple pose, if you do the actions right, it's freaking hard. If you are engaging the core, contracting the quadriceps, pushing the feet down, all these actions make you work so hard. And I never realized that. And also knowing body part names help that, because then you understand what exactly you have to do and you can explain it efficiently to the student as well. So now I'm really cautious when I go to the gym. I usually like doing group trainings, and now I really know my limits. I don't take any heavy weights because I understand that I can work hard with smaller weights, because I'm gonna be doing the work. I'm not gonna be relaxed and like lifting the weights and like throwing them up and down, up and down. No, I'm gonna be really aware and aligned in everything I do. And this way, even if there is no weight, you're gonna work. So mind-body connection is something new to me, and I'm still figuring it out. And somehow it came from knowing body parts, but of course it's more than that. The third and fourth points, I combine them together because they're the most important and they have a similar cause. So the third point is self-awareness. The fourth point is self-trust. The cause is regular meditations. Meditation is something that's always been hard for me. Focusing, being still, listening to the mind. It's boring. And you have to deal with it. And actually, if you go deeper, it's not boring at all. Regular meditations connecting mind and body is so crucial to understanding what you want. My channel appeared out of a problem, out of a question of what do I like? What do I want to do? What the hell is going on? I'm gonna record videos about that because, like, what the hell? I don't know what I like. Now I understand that this came from me using my mind most of my time and completely ignoring my feelings. I always had this mind and feelings fight. And with yoga, I realized that they don't have to fight. They can work together to improve your life quality. The heart is telling what you want, and the mind figures out how to make it happen, or how to transform it into something, how to apply this desire, this dream, whatever it is, into the real life. So they can work together, and my mind, feelings and body started working together to improve my life the way I wanted, not the way the society sees it, not the way my relatives want it, the way I want it, with my heart, with my feelings. And that came from self-awareness, through meditation, and then finally self-trust. And I believe that self-trust was a bit hard for me, but I'm getting there. And I feel like I trust myself more and more. The more I listen to myself, analyze it, make it into action, the more I feel like I can trust myself. So these two things are really transformative because they are crucial to living a better life. And I'm so happy I can share this because maybe someone needs to hear that now. The fifth point is not very obvious. I would never have thought that that would be in the list. So the fifth point is that I started reading more. I used to not enjoy reading that much. So how it happened is that we had 2 books to read for our teacher training. And we had to write an essay for each of the book. And I confused the dates for the first deadline, and I had a week to read a book. So I read the book every single day and I made notes. I had long evenings reading the book. I booked a room in the office to go there and read the book. Because otherwise, I wouldn't have done it. I needed some space and time because I feel like I'm a slow reader and I'm not used to reading. So I felt like, yes, okay, now I really need to focus. I read it, I wrote an essay, and done. Okay, nice. And I learned stuff as well. The second book was also interesting. I read it during my long vacation. I traveled, and I read the book whenever I had time, whenever I had a minute or 2 or 5 or 20. Because I didn't have my phone with me. I mean, I had my phone, but I didn't have the internet, so it was useless. And that made me read more. And I even wrote an essay in the airport. I just used my phone. I typed the essay. And that turned my world around because I used to think that to do my homework, to write an essay, I have to sit down at the table, take a pen, take a piece of paper, and write. But it turns out it doesn't have to be like that. So it may sound simple, but to me, it was a revelation. I don't have to do everything so seriously. I can just do it randomly. I don't have to plan everything all the time. I'm a huge planner. I have plans for everything. But sometimes coming out of the planning mindset and seeing more options takes you out of the box that you put yourself in, which was my case. So yeah, reading more. And the sixth point, the last one, is that I enjoy being in the role of a teacher. I feel like it's a role. You have to speak, you have to explain. And to me, it's so new. I never have to do it in my normal job because I don't speak publicly. I just sit in front of the computer, and the most speaking I have to do is to explain to my colleague why something doesn't work. So this part of me has not been used that much. So when I start teaching, I feel like ooh, I can take out part of me that's a public speaker. And I really like it. I really enjoy it. Last year at the same time, I was finishing my acting course, which I loved. And I feel like teacher is a role. And a video blogger is also a role. And actually a programmer is also a role, so I can switch them. And doesn't mean I'm pretending, and in acting you're not pretending either. You're just pulling out the parts of you, the behaviors that are needed in a specific moment, and knowing yourself well enough to adjust to a specific situation, like being a teacher. You have to have the skills, you have to have the experience of pulling that part out, pulling out a teacher personality out of your body. So it's so interesting, and that's something crucial also. That made me think that I wanna try being a teacher. I do. I wasn't sure about that when I was starting the training. But I would love to try. I would love to continue. And now I have been teaching my friends, booking a studio and having classes together. But it would be cool if I could also make some money on that. So let's see how it goes. So my next steps are making yoga teacher portfolio and applying for jobs. My second plan is psychology studies. I'm starting my psychology bachelor's degree in April, and that's something that came from my heart. That's something that I trusted myself in. The thing that I was talking about earlier, self-trust, self-awareness. I love helping people. I love learning about human body, human interactions, human behavior, and I believe studying psychology is something that suits me. It's something that I want to try, I want to do, and whatever comes next, we'll see. Who knows? That's what makes life interesting. Now let's come to the challenges. My first challenge is saying, what I'm thinking. So I've been trying to control myself very hard not to say that. The second challenge is mirroring. When you're in front of the student, you have to say, lift your right hand and show the left hand instead. So that's been hard because left and right is hard on its own for me. Like, it's not intuitive at all. Like, I have to sometimes check for the mark that I have here. Sometimes I have to try to write to check if it's easier to write. Yeah, left and right and mirroring is something hard. The third challenge is my pain. Sitting through a meditation session. I can meditate for 5-10 minutes, but when it comes to longer meditations, it freaking hurts my back, my upper back to be precise. The yoga teacher says it's because of the body that's aligning itself to Purna yoga, because I'm new to Purna yoga. So she says the body is aligning itself because I've been doing so much yoga lately. So my body may be a bit in shock. What are you doing to me? So it could be a reason why it's hard to sit in the meditation. I'm just gonna wait and see. I hope it's gonna get better with time. That's my main challenge. Sitting through a meditation. I have to adjust myself because I can't focus on anything else when I have pain. And I hope it's gonna get better. And the last challenge is Sanskrit. Did you know that all yoga names come from Sanskrit? So downward facing dog is Adho Mukha Svanasana. Cat-cow pose is Majjarasana, just to give you an example. There are so many poses, right? And you don't have to know them to teach, but it's a nice thing to know. And it's a nice idea to be able to use the original words. So I just want to learn them more because I haven't been able to remember all of them. This challenge is not so important, but I want to pass the exam because in the exam it might be important to know the Sanskrit words, and I want to know the original words. So that's just some learning for me to do. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next one.